Good morning, and today's going to be A7 in clubs. We are at a full ring game, 10 NL, and the cutoff folds to me, open raise, pretty standard here. Especially at a full ring, just going to open it up, widen it up. I get called by the small blind. He's playing 19-7-8. Definitely has some aggressive natures in him. We could see his 3-bet range. A lot of different hands. Looks like he is playing 3-bets based on position, probably player, maybe opportunistically making squeezes. It's all potentials, not guaranteed anyways. But in the blind range, we do have 3-bet steal versus 3-bet blind versus steal. A lot of different hands here, so I think we're going to expand his 3-bet range beyond like the queens plus ace king. I think we're going to have to add some other hands. Now, what other hands do we have in his range that we could kind of like pick and choose which ones are 3-bets, which ones are calls? Looks like it's going to be broadways. So call 2-bet from blinds range. He's got jacks, he's got 5, so all pocket pairs. Of course, minus the 1z 3-bets. I think your Broadway hands. He does have king 9 suited in there. Does he? He's got king 10, he's got jack 9. So I put a range like this: suited aces, pocket pairs, broadways. He has jack 9, so maybe those as well. But definitely jack 9. I'm going to include in king 9. We didn't have any suited connectors, which is kind of interesting. So maybe he's not playing those. Maybe he's just sticking to higher cards. And we're going to use this range. I did expand it to jacks plus ace queen suited. Of course, jacks may be just a calling range here instead of 3-bet. We'll see. Maybe it'd be better to set up like a percentage for jacks. All right, so it's 2 of us. Flop comes down, queen 6-5, all diamonds, and we've seen monotone flops before. These are going to be fairly scary, so my guess is that GTO is going to predict a smaller bet size. Smaller bet size is going to be just as scary as the larger bet size. That's going to be my prediction. And villain checks us, no big surprise, so it is to us. We've got a lot of hands, we've got a lot of misses. I think generally speaking, we're probably not going to be betting very much. I think our nut flush draw, probably our second nut flush draw, is looking at betting. Our third nuts maybe here. It gets us to 13.2% right there. Maybe you have some open-ender and gut shots as well. That's at 16%, so that means we can get like an 8% value range. I think our flush draw is probably, I think we're looking at probably all of the nut flush draws we're betting. Yeah, probably just all of these. I'm not sure if we're going to withhold any of these as a check. Possibly if we go like maybe like ace 10, ace 9, maybe as a check. Maybe ace 8. That gets us, that's 6%. Still a little low, but I do think we're probably going to have to keep some of these just behind, just in case, so that way our checking range isn't all weak. So we're at 5.38. I think sets are going to be betting. 2 pair could possibly bet here as well. But I think the overpair, top pair are all probably just going to be checking. Maybe the ace queen, maybe those. So you can see, maybe we go for these middle cards as well as a check. Because we just need a few more. We need to get this up to maybe like 24%. So maybe these pocket pair below the boards, that gets us 20%. Yep, 20%. Maybe even sevens. Now some of these bottom pairs. I think something like that. We're looking a whole lot better. Let's go with that. We're looking a whole lot better. It's only about a 37% c-bet range. I think that's probably about right. And I think we're going for a little bit smaller bet size. So third pot, you're looking at maybe 2 big blinds, 1.75 big blinds, something like that. I checked. I kind of miss everything, so I do like my check here. So let's go ahead and get a checking range. Take these out. All right, so we've got those. We're going to X that, that, and that. We're going to X those, these. We do leave top pair in. We have our overpair, so I mean, it's our checking range still has some hands in here. Does have some decent hands, and I think with our check, we're gonna probably be calling. When we check and he bets, we're gonna, if he bets a turn, we're gonna be calling with some of these hands as well. All right, so we narrowed our range a bit. Turn comes up to 2 clubs. Doesn't really change a whole lot. I think villain 1 checks and we check behind. So he checks. Now, he would have a lot of discipline to check a flush. So I think 50% we're going to say he's just going to check the flush again. Maybe even the sets. We're going to scale that. We're going to say 75% chance. So 25% he would have bet with those. I think he's got basically everything else in his range still. But then it comes back to us. We already checked. At this point, we're going to probably be betting our flushes. Once we checked, I think we're going to be betting those. I think the overpairs are still like somewhat betting, somewhat checking. Let's see if we can get. We don't have any more of those. So you can see that we don't really have many solid draws. We do have gut shot that we could bet. We have some weak flushes that we could bet. So that's 21%. We could do like an overpair, like for a little bit of value. Our top pair, probably not all of our top pair. Even if we have all of our top pair, we're trying to get up. We've got 21%. 15%. We're about even right there. Yeah, so maybe all of these we're not going to. Maybe these pocket pairs are going to be checks. That's probably closer. I think that's going to be our betting range. I think that's going to be our betting range. Oh, hold on. Forgot about the flush. Still. Okay, so let's get this. We are going to X these. We're going to X those. Then X, X, and X. All right. So our hand's just kind of getting weaker and weaker and weaker. River's the ace. That helps. I don't know if we can go for a little bit of value. Possibly. Villain checks here. At this point, he checks to us. I can't. I think he's gonna go. He's gonna bet his fist flush definitely. I think he's gonna probably bet these. Probably lean towards betting sets. Maybe 50%, two pair, 50%. Top pairs, possibly a check call. We could say 25%. He would have checked him, but say he would have checked those. He would have bet like ace jack and maybe even ace 10. The other ones he'll just be a check call. So I think we're looking at something like that. It's on us. If we bet, what's he gonna call with? He's definitely gonna call with these hands. I think he's gonna probably call with some of these middle pair as well, but he could also just dump them. He's got nothing. So overall, we're at like 82% right now. We need like, if we bet, hands that he calls that we beat, is it going to be 40%? Maybe. It's if he calls with the middle pair and the pocket pair below the second card. I think that's where it's really going to come down to. Because even with this top pair hand, the only hands we beat is ace 4 and ace 3. There's two combos of each. Like ace 10, ace jack, he's got him in there. So I'm not sure if this is a value bet here with our hand. And of course, we are going to go for a little bit of value with two pair. We're going to go for a little bit of value with top pair. Probably like ace king and ace jack. I think those are hands that we make our value bet. And then we're going to just kind of bluff a few times with maybe like a nothing hand, maybe something like that. 10-9 that has no shot at winning. Oops. Yep. Yeah. So I think that's how we play it. So villain shows 10-9. Misses. Does he have that in his range? Yeah, we've got that in his range for sure. So it's just kind of like I don't think he's calling. Definitely like a value bet. He's not going to call. So question is, could I have played this hand differently? My guess is probably not. Maybe we could have taken a stab to bluff, but I'm not sure about that. So let's get our hand notes. Save. All right, so I say let's take a look at GTO. All right, GTO is already run. Looked at different bet sizes. So 50% definitely not good. It looks like we're split between 66 and 33%. And it looks like it's probably an even split. Betting flushes. Let's go up to the flushes. There are flushes that we do have some checks. You can see the nut flushes. Looks like we're betting those. Definitely favoring like the ace 2, ace 3, ace 4, king 2, king 3, king 4. Middle flushes tend to be checks. Probably because villain isn't going to have a whole lot of those. He's more likely to have Broadway, and if we have like the ace and the kings, we're going to block villain a lot. So it kind of allows us to check a little bit more and not worry about being beat as much. Overall bet looks like 32%, and we can fix that by, dropping it down, picking one or the other. Our hand a7 sometimes bet, sometimes check, so we're using that as some bluffing ranges. Where it looks like that's what we're using. Speaking of semi-bluffs, nut flush draws, most of our nut flushes except ace-queen. Second nuts are more checks. Third nuts, so what else are we doing? Oh, open-ender, gut shot. Okay, those are semi-bluffs. We kind of had those. We added nut second and third nut. It doesn't look like we're going up that far. And I think we're at like 30-something%. And here, this is at 32%, almost 33%. So what's different is that I was adding in these flush draws as our semi-bluffs, whereas villain or GTO is adding in these ace-x hands that really don't have any shot. They just have an ace and they block. So our check looks okay. We got a 2 of clubs. Villains should be betting. Villain should be leading out. So on a board like this, villain should be leading out with this range. And I'm going to think about this. This could be a situation that we're in where it goes check, check. When should we bet? Looks like we're betting our flushes. Some of our sets, some of our top pair hands, pocket pair less than the top card. We do have some of these no-made hands, and it looks like those are really looking at like your nut flush or your flush draws. So he checks. He goes check, check, and now it's on us. And now GTO wants us to bet, continue betting. Has us betting at 32% again. Where were we? So we were betting about 36% is what we worked out if we're going to be checking 64%. So it looks like we're kind of on track in terms of our overall frequency. We're betting our flush, which I kind of figured if we're going to check a flush, we need to be betting those. We're going to be betting our sets. We're going to be betting some of our 2-pair, not all of them. Some of our overpairs. I think I had the overpairs as checks, but we're not going to be betting all of our 2-pair, and that's going to allow us to bet like an overpair as well. And our top pair, and again, we're betting our good top pair, good kicker, not with the weaker kickers. And then for balance, again, we're looking at some of our flush draws. We're looking at some of our no flush draws, just junky hands. You could see just throwing them in, even a7 just kind of misses. We're going to throw in hands that really don't have much of a shot, but I guess have some blocker potential, or at least don't have some blocker potential. So having none of these, that's not going to block villain at all, because we don't really expect him to have these hands in his range, which means it makes it more likely he might have like the king jack, king 10, jack 10 type hands, or maybe even a pocket pair, under pair. Speaking of the under pairs, still basically checks. So we do check. Ace of hearts comes out. Villain's checking again, which I kind of expect him to bet the flushes. GTO's having him withhold some of these. I bet the sets in the 2-pair are check calls. So let's check that. Those are actually check raises. His check calling range would be like top pair, middle pair, weak pair. So he's using the rest of the flushes as a check raise, sets his check raise 2 pairs. I guess that kind of makes sense because, with how it plays out, surely I would have gone for a little bit more value if I had an actual flush. At some point, I would have gone for that value. Flop, turn, I wouldn't have waited for the river to make that type of value bet. So villain checks is on us. We should be betting. That's what GTO is saying, even with our ace littles. And the reason that we just decided is that GTO wants him to call with these, middle pair and weak pairs. Not with all of the weak pairs, but 50% of them. And those are hands that we beat. So GTO thinks we're going to get value when we do get called. And if we get check raised, we could easily just fold and dump the hand. Now, we talked about that. I didn't bet here because I didn't think villain would really call with those hands. GTO says it should, so this is where we can have some deviation based on the player itself. I'm not sure if this player would have called with the underpair. Not sure if he would have called with the underpair. So let's see here. We have a call. So raise first in with ace-9. He's in position. He raised versus a donk. He checked and then he check called with ace-9 of clubs. So he called is a bluff catch in that very first hand. Maybe he calls with those to keep honest. I just don't think. I think the ace, at these levels, when the ace comes out, I think people get scared because so many people will play an ace-x hand. So, yeah, I'm going to deviate. GTO says to bet, and that's probably solid, strong play if we know the villain's willing to call with an underpair or with a weaker pair, middle and weak pair. So we'll just wrap it up here, get this posted. I hope you enjoy the hand. I plan to do another one tomorrow, and then might take some breaks. We'll see. Hopefully you enjoy this. If you do, look tomorrow for another hand.